It is a great day to welcome Mel and his family back to Ann Arbor. Mel and I had great conversations the last couple of days, and it ultimately was a very easy decision because of who Mel is as a person. We all know his coaching accolades, his ability when he was an assistant to provide great leadership under Red, went out to Michigan Tech and rebuilt that program, 2 NCAA tournament appearances, a conference championship last year. He has done a tremendous job and has earned the seat to sit in the chair as a head coach here at Michigan. Before I bring him up, I do want to thank a few people. One being Red. He was terrific throughout this whole process, providing me with insight and advice, and really there to answer the questions that needed to be answered on many different levels, about the program, about people, and I had a great conversation with him yesterday regarding the choice of Mel as the next head coach. I also want to thank Bitsy Ritt, Doug Ganaki, and Josh Rieslow for their support in this process. They were tremendous. And I'd like to thank Korn Ferry and Jed Hughes and Andrew Montag and that group for their outside support in this process. The last group I'd like to thank took some time, and that is our Michigan alums. I reached out and probably talked to about 3 handfuls of former players to get their insights, thoughts, ideas about the program. And it was really insightful for me to have that conversation with them. They provided a lot of thought about the program and where they wanted it to go and thought it should. And many of them were quite, you can, for those of you who know our great alums, they had no problem, the majority of them, telling me to hire Mel Pearson. They were really clear, many of them, in that. It is great to see Susie as administrator of hockey. I spent significant time, particularly in the NCAA tournaments, with the families, and it's great to see Susie and to see. I can't wait to see Kim and Sarah and Paul as they all come back to Ann Arbor. I don't think Paul's coming back. I think he's in Chicago. But it's so great to have you back here. He's a native of my favorite, Flin Flon, Manitoba. Flin Flon. Only the Canadians can name a town Flin Flon. Love that. And he was here as an assistant for 23 years. 6 years as a head coach, great success at Michigan Tech. I want to introduce to you our 9th coach in program history, Mel Pearson. Mel.
Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for coming this afternoon. And that's your homework assignment today. I know Coach Beeline probably doesn't know where Flin Flon, Manitoba is, but I'm going to give him that homework assignment and see if he can find it on the map. But I'm very honored and very privileged and very excited to be back at the University of Michigan. When I was a young assistant coach a few years ago, I came down here to apply for a job. And little did I know at the time when I got that job how it would change the rest of my life. When I accepted that position as assistant coach, I had the opportunity to work at the greatest university in the world. I had an opportunity to be around the best student athletes in the world. And I had the opportunity to coach, in my opinion, with the best college coach there's ever been, Coach Red Berenson. And he had one heck of an assistant. And Joy, I just want to thank you from our family to your family for everything you've done for us. And I really appreciate what you and Red have meant to us. More than mentors, but great friends. So thank you very much. I also want to thank the Board of Regents and the President for having the confidence in me to bring me back and give me the opportunity to be your next head hockey coach here at Michigan. I also want to thank Ward Manuel. Like Ward said, he was the hockey administrator back in the day. And my kids, when you go on the road to NCAA trips, Ward would be the guy who handed out per diem. So our kids loved Ward. I think they liked him more than they liked me. And their nickname for Ward was the Money Man. I don't think they knew his name or anything like that. And kids, now he's Daddy Warbucks. So we want to make sure we're real good. But I just want to thank Ward. I've known Ward for a long time, and I just thank Ward for this opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to working with Ward and continuing on the success of Michigan hockey. And like I said, I'm just ecstatic to be here today. I can't wait to get to work. We're in great shape here. We're in great shape. I've had the opportunity to be given the keys to the prized family car. I've been given the keys, so I'm the driver now. And the car's in great shape. The car's in great shape. It's got a great engine. The body looks fantastic. We might have to make a couple repairs here this summer, minor repairs. And then we're going to get that car ready to go on the road. And come September, that car is headed for one direction, and that direction is St. Paul, Minnesota. And we're going to get the guys on board, and there might be some bumps in the road. There might be a couple detours here and there, but we know where we're headed, and we've got to find a way to make sure we get that car there. And that's my goal. That's my goal. And I'm excited to work with these young men. I just had the opportunity to meet with them before we came over. And I shared a couple things with them. And one of the things I shared with them is I'm not interested in being good. I'm not interested in being good. Right, Will? Is Will here? He had to go to class, which is good, which is a good thing. But I asked Will why I'm not interested in being good. And he said he wasn't sure. And I said, I'm interested and I want to be great. And that's what we need here. We need greatness, and that's what the University of Michigan stands for. There's a reason it's a leaders and best, and we need to strive for greatness, and I can't wait to strive with you, boys. I can't wait. I'd like to acknowledge my family, obviously, and one of our best recruiters. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I went on a recruiting trip. I think it was maybe my second or third year. We just had our second child, and my wife and I, those first couple of years, we were on the road a lot. We didn't get an opportunity to spend much time together, so after practice, I think Red said, oh, you know, why don't you go up and see this Cam Stewart kid up in Elmira, Ontario. And so I told Suzette, you know, I won't be there for dinner tonight, honey. I got to get up to Elmira. And she says, well, why don't I come with you? We haven't spent much time together, and I think she wanted to get away from our couple daughters. So we jumped in the car, and Elmira's about 2.5 hours. And we got up to the rink, and I told Susie, my wife, I said, hey, when we get in the game, you can't sit with me. When the game's on, I got to sit by myself. I got to be focused on the game. That's the way I am. So just understand that. I'll meet you at the concession stand after the first period. So game starts. I'm doing my thing, watching Cam Stewart, and I go down to the concession stand after the first period, and there's my wife with this lady. And they're giggling and carrying on and having a coffee, and I'm going, you know, what's going on here? So I go up to Susie, and she said, oh, Mel, I'd like you to meet Sandy Stewart, Cam Stewart's mother. And Cam Stewart had no chance where he's going to go after that game. Between Sandy and my wife, it was a done deal. So we got Cam Stewart, who obviously came here, was a great player for us here at Michigan. But I want to acknowledge my wife, Susie, and my daughters, Kim and Sarah, here tonight, or this afternoon. And Sarah's my son-in-law, Ewan. He's a Michigan grad, too, so of course, right? But anyway, I love them all, and then thanks for coming, and thanks for all your support. I appreciate it. And obviously my son, Paul, who is a Michigan grad. All three of my children went to Michigan, and I'm trying to work on my debt, my contract with the student loans. Is that in the contract board? Somehow? Do we? Well, maybe when he gets back from Rome, we'll work on that. But anyway, I'm just ecstatic to be here today. I'm thrilled to be the next head coach at the University of Michigan. And like I told the players today, I wish we could start tomorrow. I'm excited to get after it, and I'm looking forward to continuing on the winning tradition that Coach Berenson has established here. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much, and go Blue.
We have Ben and Tom here.
And I will tell you one thing. So when I called Coach Berenson last night, he's one of the first guys I wanted to contact. And I think he's one of the only people who still has a landline in Washtenaw County. I mean, some of these young guys probably don't even know what a landline is. But anyway, I called Red, and he answered, and I said, "Hey, Red, it's Mel." And in typical Red fashion, he goes, "Mel who?" And then I wanted to ask him for some advice for today. And so I asked Red, is there any advice you could give to me, for tomorrow? And he said, keep it short. So it's a beautiful day. Reporters, if you need me after, I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to get out and enjoy the day. So I'm happy to answer any questions even after. But George, go ahead.
Now, how exactly do you go about replacing a legend like Red Berenson?
You don't. You don't, George. I mean, he's got big shoes to fill, and I'm not here to fill his shoes. We're here as a team, a group, is to try and make sure those shoes stay polished and in great shape. I've got some my own ideas how we need to do some things, but, I had one of the best mentors ever in the game of college hockey, so I've learned a lot from him, and I think that's one reason why I was fortunate to have some success up at Michigan Tech.
Mel, you want to take a sip of that water since you've been trying for about 5 minutes here?
Thanks, Mike.
I'm just trying to get that relationship with the media going pretty good here.
Your name is, excuse me, Michael who?
What's that?
Your name's Michael who?
Spath. When you left in 2011, did you envision ever this day coming back and coaching the University of Michigan?
I did. I think you all know it's documented. I had a hard time leaving here. I enjoyed it here. I love it here. It was a tough decision at the time, but it was the right decision. And I appreciate the guidance I got from Coach Berenson and the AD, Dave Brandon, at the time. But I think that was always in the back of my mind. It was to have the opportunity to come back to Michigan. And in my wildest dreams, I don't know if I ever thought it would happen, but I'm just excited to be back. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Mel, when you were here before, obviously you're proud of what the team did, but what are you proudest of in your over 20 years here on the coaching staff prior?
Well, I think that the young men that we recruited here, the graduation rate, I guess I am and we are, just as excited about the guys who've gone back to their communities, and whether they're doctors or lawyers or, firefighters, whatever they are. We had, and like I said, we are around some of the best student athletes in the world. And it was a pleasure to come to the rink every day and to work with those young men. And just the relationships that you form with them. And that's one thing that's been great about this process for me is just the number of the alumni and former players that have reached out to me, and fans. And I just can't thank them enough. I mean, the encouraging emails and texts have been fantastic. And it's hard to get back to them all, but I'm going to try. But I think that's one of the biggest things is, you can talk about the wins and the losses and all the other things, but it's the people that you touch and the relationships you form, and I think that's something very special to me.
Michigan, oh, Mel. Hey. Michigan hasn't been to the Frozen Four since you left. You've played them a few times. When you scouted them the past couple years, I guess what have you noticed that you could tweak, and then what has you confident that they can do it next year?
Well, I like this team. I like the makeup of this team. They've got size, speed, good up front, good on the back end, good goaltending. All the ingredients are there. It's just like making a cake, but we've got to make sure we've got everything and mix it up the right way. But you know, there'll be some tweaks we make. But like I said, the car's in great shape. You know, we just might have to make a couple minor repairs and get it on the road and be ready to go. But I like this team. I like the individuals on this team. Having played them, you get a feel for what they can do. And I'm anxious to get out on the ice with them and get going. But I think the sky's the limit. We're not going to put ceilings on this team. We're not going to talk about, you know, our expectations or where we should finish. I don't want to set the bar too high. But I think with this team, the sky's the limit. And it's up to them. This is their team. I'm just directing them a little bit. But this is their team. They're going to make the decision, you know, to go for it.
Mel, you've faced Red Berenson's Michigan teams 8 or 9 times in the time you were coaching at Michigan Tech. What was that like for you to go against your mentor? And did you ever think that this day would come where you'd be back here replacing him? Well, thank you for the question. And first and foremost, I was hoping. You know, it's actually a dream come true to come back. I have a lot of respect for the University of Michigan and obviously the hockey program and Coach Berenson. I think the first time when we played, it was always difficult. You know, you have mixed emotions. You know, you show your old boss that you learned something from him and be respectable. And unfortunately, we were able to win a couple games along the way. But I remember coming back to Yost. It was odd. It was really odd going to the visitors' bench. You know, you spend 23 years somewhere, and then you got to go over to that bench where the students are behind you and chanting ugly parents and all that other stuff. So it was, you know. I was afraid for my family, actually, that's sitting there, and the ugly coach, that's all I needed. But I have a ton of respect for Coach Berenson, and, you know, any success I have, I owe to him.
Mel, you said that obviously you wish you could get started right now. You can't. There's no practice. In these next couple of months, before you can get on the ice with your team, how will you try to make an impact on this program? Well, I think, like I told the guys, I want to make sure I spend some one-on-one time with them, get to know them, get to find out a little bit more about what makes them tick, you know, what they like, what they are as people, what they enjoy outside of the rink. And I think it's important that I establish a relationship with each and every one of them. And we're going to have some time to do that because of some of the rules. So I'm looking forward to that. I know a few of them. I know we've got a young man coming in that I had on a recruiting visit to Tech, so that's going to be a fun call. He's going to tell me why he didn't come, and you know it's going to be interesting. But anyway, no, I'm just looking forward to establishing a one-on-one relationship with the players.
Anything else, Bill? Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.